Like I said, if you voted for this man, the lockdowns are coming. Joe Biden announces lockdown panel, plans for nationwide mandatory mask mandate, lockdown, and of course, contact tracing. This is, of course, from November 9th. So, this is what, of course, this man has planned, regardless of what is going on in terms of the cases, in terms of hospitalizations. Like I've showed numerous times from the data. The data, of course, does not mandate a need for any sort of lockdowns. As I said, I think it's about 6.4% of all hospitalizations are, of course, dedicated to the virus. Now, for places like here in New York, New Jersey, places like Hawaii have very high unemployment rates. Now, of course, within the small towns here in New York, places like Brooklyn are around 20% unemployment. Places like the Bronx are 25% unemployment. Here in Manhattan, it's 16%. And of course, out in Queens, it's 20%. And of course, many of these businesses that were just starting to get back on their feet here, of course, could face a national lockdown. Not only with a lockdown, but of course, everywhere you go, they're going to have mask mandates so that police will pull you over, or so police will come over to you if they see you in the street. They tried doing that here in New York, where the police officers would come up to you and they would offer you a mask. And if you didn't accept it, if you weren't willing to do it, then they would give you a fine. Right? I think it was $1,000 fine. And this is what people vote for. They vote for this sort of authoritarian crackdowns, loss of freedoms, by comparison to places like Florida, where Governor DeSantis says Florida DeSantis moves to allow citizens to shoot looters, rioters, targeting businesses. Says critiques argue the law would allow for armed citizens to become quote unquote vigilantes. And realistically speaking, if you're a small business owner or you're a large business owner, you know how much work, how many hours of blood, sweat, and tears that goes into creating that business, into the sleepless nights. Not most businesses do not succeed. So imagine you have a business that you're working at. It is your sole source of income. It's what you utilize to help feed your family. And then some people just want to come on over and burn it down just because they're upset at either the government or at police, or because they're not getting their way in terms of who got voted into office. And so they come around in a mob and they want to burn down your business. And I have said it for a long time that a lot of what we see, of course, on TV in terms of the rioting and the looting, all that would go away if you just exercised your 2A. And that would be and that's exactly what would happen. You would not see people be willing to burn down someone's business. You would not see people willing to rush up to people in a mob and attack them. You wouldn't see people acting that way because they would be in fear of losing their life. But since, of course, police officers arrest them and then they get let go by prosecutors who don't want to prosecute these individuals who are out there rioting and looting. We saw that numerous times in places like Seattle and Chicago, where a lot of the individuals who are out there robbing and looting, burning down businesses, spray painting businesses, attacking people who were just out there eating. And of course, they would come into the restaurants and they would force individuals to pledge their allegiance to their cause. And of course, if you didn't, who the hell knows what would happen to you? God help you. You'd end up getting beat up or almost beat to death by the mob. And so this is what you see in Republican states, where they give people more freedom. They allow people the freedom to exercise their constitutional rights, which of course is very different from individuals like Joe Biden, who is a Democrat, who wants to remove your freedoms and remove your rights and restrict your movements in every way, shape, or form. Regardless of the supposed rise in cases, it's always important to keep into consideration who you give authority over you. I don't know why so many people were so in favor of voting for this individual. We still have yet to wait and see how things are going to turn out. Of course, through the court system, I'm going to have to wait and see. But for a lot of you, for me, not necessarily going to affect me in terms of work. I work at a hospital, so for the most part, but for the majority of you who work in retail, restaurants, bars, gyms, etc., this is what you have to look forward to.